Hello there, thanks for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and boy, this one's a treat. An original Patsy Cline concert poster. Wow, you just don't see many of those. This is just really fun. What can you say about Patsy Cline, right? I mean, you know, this was just being 1962, this was less than 6 months before her life was tragically cut short in an airplane crash. So it's from Des Moines, Iowa, and it's a standard 14 by 22 inch boxing style concert poster, and it finds Patsy's second build on this particular show to super legend Hank Snow. And then as you can see below Patsy, there's 3 others as well, and it was a traveling Grand Ole Opry show, which was very common for country tour packages in the day. So looking there at the top, you've got the KRNT Theater, obviously the local radio station tied in Des Moines, Iowa. You can see that. And any poster collector really worth their salt that collects this era knows there are tons of KRNT concert posters, original, that were left over, and perhaps they were printer overpress or just stashes kept. Maybe it was one promoter who never threw anything away, but there's a lot of these things for a lot of artists, including people like Johnny Cash and stuff. But the Patsy ones, you know, I guess they weren't kept or something because she doesn't turn up nearly as often as the other ones. So it's a nice collector's item. As you can see below Des Moines, it then says, of course, Sunday, September 23rd, 2 big shows, 3 p.m. and 8 p.m., and the black stripe with Grand Ole Opry. And then you've got in person Hank Snow and his Rainbow Ranch Boys. And then you've got Patsy, who interestingly is set off in black print, sort of a nice way to highlight her and make sure everybody knew she was pretty much just as big a star as Hank, or I should say as big of a draw anyway. And then you've got the 3 relatively lesser hit makers, I guess you could say. Bobby Lord there on top had just 1 top 10 hit 6 years ago. Carl Ballou had 1 top 10 hit 3 years ago, and the Willis Brothers, actually Carl Ballou was going to have another one too. His new single would go to, Hello Out There, would go to top 10, and then that would be it for him. And then the Willis Brothers had 1 top 10 career hit coming in a couple of years. But, boy, I'll tell you, when it comes to hit-making and long-lasting influence, Patsy Cline, she had enjoyed her biggest hit this spring of '62 with She's Got You, which was #1 for a whole month, which was really nice for her. And at this point, of course, talk about ticket selling power, behind her she already had Crazy, I Go to Pieces, and Walking After Midnight. And above Patsy, Hank Snow, if you know country music at all, he really doesn't need any kind of introduction. He was a monster hit maker for a dozen years already by this point. But what's worth noting is Hank hadn't had a #1 record for like 7 years. And so what happens, he goes on this tour, and his brand new single, I've Been Everywhere, would go to #1. So there you have it, good timing for Hank Snow fans, who would even chart, by the way, into the 1980s. He had a long career. Then you get down to the bottom, below the Willis Brothers there, and there's just the regular rote information, of course, for ticket sales, as you can see. Tickets on sale, theater, box office, and New Utica. And I don't know, the latter couldn't be Utica, Iowa, which is too far away to sell tickets, so maybe it was a retail establishment of some kind. All seats reserved, prices $1.25 and $2, and I always love the kids' price on these country concert posters from this era. Children, 50 cents, tax included, which means a family of 4 could have attended for just $3.50. That's pretty wild. And then way down there on the white border, you can't see it, but there's an unusual printer's credit there, which I don't see often, and that's the Central Show Printing Company in Mason City, Iowa. And what's so funny is I was going to close by pointing out that this is a case of not being printed directly on the cardboard. This poster was printed on paper first and then adhered to the cardboard, and it sort of read my mind and did it for me. Look at that. You just don't see too many of these peeling off. It's a very unusual occurrence. So I'm happy to show you at the very end of the video how this one, same thing's happening at the bottom, was printed on, you know, the paper very much separate from the cardboard. Or perhaps the paper was adhered to the cardboard and is just coming off after all these years. The main thing, though, is not the paper and the cardboard, it is Patsy Cline. And boy, you just, again, with her tragic death in '63, you just don't see a whole lot of concert posters with Patsy on there, and she is just such a vital force, you know, half a century later and always will be. Just one of, you know, heck, what was she voted like #11 most important female vocalists ever, including rock and roll, by an establishment, I believe, Rolling Stone magazine. I mean, she's just wonderful and timeless. So, Hi there, and excuse me for cutting in like this, but I have definitely more pertinent info to add to this Patsy Cline concert poster video shoot. So you're looking at the one from KRNT radio in Des Moines. It's not very sexy, right? It's just a list of names. So you might have one that you found, in your garage or whatever, and you're thinking, wow, what about this? And I'll show you a few examples of wishful thinking concert posters that are not real. They're just merchandising bootleg posters available for $10 at swap meets or record stores or whatever. Here's an example, a very common one of Patsy Cline. Look at that. This is what everybody wants these days. They want a big splashy poster, nice big picture of her, and Patsy Cline in red across the top and everything. So by gosh, that's what the merchandisers give you. The thing is, it's not an advertising poster. It wasn't made in early '63 to be posted and sell tickets. This is just, a merch piece. What can you say from decades later generally? This one, by the way, in particular, is from March 3rd, 1963 in Kansas City, Kansas, and this was her last show ever. That's why the merch people jumped on it. It gives one showtime on this, but she actually did 2 shows that night. And black and white not good enough for you? That's okay. The merchers have a color one for you there. That's called Split Fountain, of course, where it goes from the pink to the yellow to the green. Basically the same poster, picture a little smaller. The print down at the bottom is different, but by the way, sorry for the bad printing of my print quality on this. The poster's not worth going to the effort of a good print. I just banged it out to show you what a bootleg is. And then those 2 are from '63. Same thing. Here's one from '62, the year before. Once again, just a bootleg merchandising poster. And this one even has the wrong information. It says Jackson, Tennessee on the state, but she actually was in Little Rock, Arkansas on the state in 1962. But it gives the people what they want. There's a live shot with her guitarist and the 3 big hit singles there screaming across the top. So, that's just, they're out to move product, but they're not advertising posters, and therefore they have only decorative value and no collector's value. So, showing you a couple boots from '63 and '62. Now I'm going to show you a picture of a real one from 1961 that's sort of halfway between the unsexy KRNT original and these just, bootleg things. And that is, again, I have only the photo at this time. There we go, get the glare out of the way, and there you have, from Wichita, there you have a 1961. This is, again, a real McCoy with Patsy Cline's picture, which is really nice. And I'll move in a little bit closer, and it's especially nice because she's front and center. As you can see, in fact, shall I test the limits of my video camera? See that? Patsy right there, looking great, looking very housewifey, which is what she was in Wisconsin when she was discovered. And it's nice because it says Walkin' After Midnight, because at this point in 1961, that's the only hit record she had so far. And then if you want to see a real one from the year before, 1960, just go to my Willie Nelson poster blog. I blog a '63, let's see, was it '63 Willie Nelson concert poster from the '60s anyway, and I posted that in 2013. And at the end of that video, I have a special guest surprise appearance by a Montgomery, Alabama concert poster with lots of people on it, no pictures, but there's Patsy Cline, and that's the least sexy of them all. But it's on there if you want to see it. So that's how to differentiate between original Patsy Cline advertising concert posters, which collectors covet, and just merch pieces, which have nothing but decorative value. So I hope you enjoyed seeing her on poster today. Thanks a lot for dropping by, and we'll see you next time for something else. Have a good day. Bye-bye.